Well, Max on Life is a book of answers to questions, and just about everything that I've ever done is in response to a question that came. Maybe a question that came in an email, or a question that came in a letter, a question that came in a conversation, or even a phone call. I guess if I ever did anything close to a Dear Abby column, it would be a Max on Life project. And so I think it works out well because the question is offered and then the answer is given. There's a lot of questions in this world, and there's no way one book can answer them all, but 25 years of publishing has given us an opportunity to receive and answer a lot of them, and this seemed to be a good time to compile all of those questions and answers in one book. One of the most common questions, as you can imagine, is questions about being published or how to write. Just today, I think there were 2 letters about that. Questions about hope. Is salvation secure? Can I out-sin God? Questions about hurt. What do I do when somebody lashes out at me? Questions about home, questions about divorce and raising children, and the best way to raise your children. Is God in favor of discipline or against discipline? One of my favorite sections we simply called him, her. Relationships between men and women, about dating, about marriage. We have a pretty extensive section about sex, premarital sex, and questions that have come in on the whole area of sexuality. And then a pretty extensive section at the end of the book called Hereafter. Questions about heaven, questions about hell, questions about who's going where. One of my most meaningful letters came in the form of a letter that was written by a homeless man on a Dunkin' Donuts napkin. We've received letters written on the back of a paper sack. I remember one time a family whose son had died in a helicopter crash in the military in Europe sent us a copy of the book 6 Hours One Friday that had been retrieved from his suitcase that had survived the crash, and they sent a letter along with it. We received a letter from kids once with coins taped on the page asking if they could buy a book for 26 cents. It's just, it's neat. It's the receiving line of many questions that people have. People just have questions in life, And I've sure never tried to position myself as one who has a lot of, or all of the answers. But I can sure give some thoughts, and that's what this book is about. Well, this being the 25th year of our publishing, gave us an opportunity to reflect back on all the different ways that God has used our books through the years. I believe that there are many things that excite me about that. If there's one that works its way to the top, it would be the translations into the multiple languages that the books have had. My earliest desire after I became a Christian was to become a missionary. And God allowed me to do that for about 5 years. And then when I felt the call to come back to the States, I remember wrestling with, well, what about the desire that I had to go into the whole world? Well, over the last 25 years, the words have gone far more than my feet could have ever gone all around the world. So these 25 years have been really special. It's been fun to publish with Thomas Nelson. It's been an extreme pleasure to make friends with some of the great people at Thomas Nelson. Some of my dearest friends I would consider to be people in the publishing world. The bookstores have always been phenomenal, been friendly. And I'm not one that's too big on nostalgia, because I'm not sure nostalgia is always accurate. Things always look better looking back than they really were when you were living in them. So I try not to look back too much, but I do think at 25 years, that's a good mile marker to look back and say, thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks all the people who have had a hand in this from the very beginning. Thanks for letting me have a chance to do this. And my prayer is that we can do it again for another 25 years. My most hidden desire is to be the next George Strait. But I don't think that's going to happen. Of course, probably George Strait says, my most hidden desire is to be Max Lucado.